What's going on, fam? In this video, I'm going to be talking about the most effective way to consume caffeine without getting all the negative side effects like jitteriness, anxiousness, lowering your quality of sleep, everything like that. So stick around until the very end, because at the very end, I'm going to talk about the hack that I've discovered recently that really helps with all this. Okay, so stick around until the end of the video, discover what that is, and without further ado, let's get right into it. All right, so before I start talking about everything that we've got right here, I want to talk about kind of my story with caffeine and my own experience with it. So I started out, my first time I started taking caffeine was with PreWorkout, and it was with the most crazy pre-workout on the market at the time. It was called Jack 3D. Okay, so this pre-workout had a ton of caffeine in it. It had an ingredient in it called DMAA. So this was basically like meth. Okay, so it's banned now in supplements. So that was my first experience with caffeine. Something crazy, tons of caffeine. Taking it for my workouts at like 15, 16 years old. This caused me to have a ton of anxiety. I couldn't sleep. I didn't really realize it at the time that it was affecting me so much, but looking back, I can definitely see that it was. So went from that, and then going into college, started drinking a lot of coffee, also still taking a lot of pre-workout, and just up until really recently, really affected my sleep quality, really affected a lot of different things that I didn't really realize it was. And now I've discovered how to effectively consume caffeine to still have a ton of energy throughout the day, to get everything you need to get done, but without lowering your quality of sleep, having that anxiousness, having the jitters, everything like that. Okay, so that's what I'm going to be talking about. So that's just a little bit about my story. And if you're in the same boat, if that's something that you can relate to, this is definitely going to have a lot of value in it that's going to help you out as well. And just one quick disclaimer, I'm not an expert on caffeine or supplements, so I'm not going to sit here and act like I've got like a PhD in caffeine and supplements and stuff like that, but I'm going to talk about my own experience with it, what's helped me, and hopefully you can relate to it and helps you as well. First, let's talk about what caffeine actually does. There's a common misconception that caffeine just gives you energy. So caffeine does not just give you energy. What it actually does is it binds to adenosine receptors in your brain. So you have adenosine receptors in your brain, and adenosine binds to those receptors, and that's what actually makes you feel tired throughout the day. So what caffeine does is it acts as that adenosine, and it binds to those receptors, blocking the adenosine binding to those receptors, and so it just allows you to not feel tired throughout the day. Okay, so it allows you to not feel that tiredness throughout the day, and in doing that, it does increase your heart rate, and everything that comes with not being tired. It actually increases your adrenaline and things like that. So that's one big common misconception, is that it's not like caffeine's just giving you this energy. It actually just stops you from feeling tired. And I'm definitely not against caffeine. I'm a huge proponent of caffeine. Just most people are doing it wrong, and I did it wrong for a long time. So I want you to learn from my mistakes and figure out how to consume caffeine correctly. So caffeine is very well studied, has a lot of research on it. It's one of the most researched and studied supplements on the market. So if you consume caffeine correctly, it can be very effective, and it can help you with your health and fitness goals a whole lot. So let's go ahead and talk about each of these. All right, first off, I'm going to talk about energy drinks. So I definitely was someone that drank a ton of energy drinks, especially when I worked in a gym. I just felt like I had to have a lot of energy for my clients, everything like that. So let's talk about Bang. Bang has 350 milligrams of caffeine in it. Okay, so that's a whole lot of caffeine, especially all at once. Since you're gonna drink this in basically one go, you're gonna get a ton of caffeine all at once, and that's gonna cause you to feel anxious, jittery. It's just too much all at once. Okay, so there's too much caffeine in most energy drinks. And also there's some negative ingredients in there as well that you want to avoid. So, there's artificial sweeteners, which you always want to limit those, but there's also taurine, which has been shown to cause some kidney damage. And really, if someone that also supplements with protein and other supplements, you just want to limit how much supplements you're getting in that can damage your kidneys. Okay, so energy drinks, I would just steer clear of them completely at this point. It's kind of crazy that I'm saying that now, because I used to drink energy drinks all the time, but learn from my mistakes. Don't go down that path. You're also going to start building up a huge tolerance, and you're just going to need more and more. Okay, so just avoid the energy drinks. Don't get stuck in that downward spiral. And yeah, just avoid the energy drinks at all costs. Now let's talk about pre-workout. Okay, so pre-workout also has a lot of caffeine typically in it. There are some that don't have as much. Some have like 150 milligrams in there. So those can be effective and not give you too much caffeine all at once. But typically, you're going to see anywhere from 200 to 350 milligrams of caffeine, similar to the energy drinks. So I honestly, and it's crazy because I used to drink pre-workout before every single workout I did. Okay, but you will become dependent on that pre-workout to even be able to work out. So you don't want to go down that path. You want to be able to work out on your own accord. You want to be able to muster up your own discipline to be able to work out without supplements. So I would avoid taking pre-workout. Honestly, just take it if you're going for like a max lift or just going for some crazy workout here and again. Like that's the only real reason I have it around, is like if I'm going for a max lift, or if I'm just like, it's on a Saturday, just got like a ton of time. I don't need to worry about going to sleep at a really early hour or anything like that. That's the only time I'll take pre-workout, like probably once a month. So I would try to really limit your consumption of pre-workout and don't go down the downward spiral of needing it for every single workout. That's for sure. Another thing to keep in mind is caffeine has an 8 to 12 hour half-life, meaning every 8 to 12 hours, it's half as effective as when you first consumed it. Okay, so if something like 350 milligrams from an energy drink, if you consume that at, say, noon, then 8 hours later at 8 p.m., you're still going to have about 175 milligrams of caffeine working in your system, and that's definitely going to affect your sleep. Okay, even if it's not affecting your ability to fall asleep, it's going to affect your quality of sleep. Now let's talk about coffee. We got good old Folgers here. So coffee is going to give you a good 100 milligrams of caffeine on average per serving. So for a cup of coffee, you're going to get about 100 milligrams of caffeine, which is a lot less than you'll get from energy drinks or pre-workout. And it's also going to be a natural source. So you're going to have antioxidants in coffee. You're not going to have a lot of the negative ingredients that you'll see in the energy drinks or even pre-workout. So I highly recommend drinking coffee for your main source of caffeine. And I'd probably recommend 1 to 2 cups per day. So it's also going to be a lot more spread out with your caffeine intake instead of taking it all at once for something like this. So coffee is great. I'd recommend it, probably 1 to 2 cups per day. 1 in the morning, 1 towards the afternoon, and that's going to be about 100 to 200 milligrams of caffeine for your daily intake, and that's pretty dang good. One thing to also note just with your general caffeine intake is your cortisol is highest when you first wake up, and this is something I talked about in my sleep tip video, so if you haven't watched that, go ahead and go back and watch my sleep tips. But when you first wake up, your cortisol is highest, and so intaking more caffeine right when you wake up is going to boost your cortisol levels super high, have you feeling anxious, stressed out, jittery, and everything like that. So the best strategy is to wait at least 90 minutes after you wake up to consume your caffeine early in the morning. So probably the biggest hack that I've discovered recently that's transformed my caffeine consumption has been tea. So obviously tea's not new, but it was kind of new to me. Never been someone that drank tea before, but tea has theanine in it. And theanine actually gives you a calming, relaxed effect. So it actually offsets the anxiousness and jitteriness that you might feel with consuming caffeine. So that's what I love about tea. It also has about 25 to 75 milligrams of caffeine, so it's a lot less than these products here. So that's one thing that I've found has been really helpful for me to get a little bit of boost in the afternoon without affecting my quality of sleep, making me feel anxious and jittery like at the end of the day. So a really good strategy to consume caffeine towards the end of the day is to use green or black tea. I really hope you found value in that. If you did, please make sure to like and subscribe and comment below if you have any questions on anything I talked about. I would definitely check out my video on sleep tips to know a little bit more about how you can improve the quality of your sleep. But have a great one. See you all in the next video. Peace.